Ho, 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 Merry Wednesday.
Good evening, Arthur.
If it is Wednesday, wherever you may be, you might be watching this or listening to this after the fact, and you're like, hey, Ben, it's not Wednesday where I'm at in this particular point in time, and you know what? That's cool. That's fine.
Yeah.
We can agree that it's a different day. We won't hold it against each other, but we will.
Might be Thursday, like for Foxy in Australia.
Sit back and get ready for another weekly Daily Wednesdays, because there's always weekly Daily Wednesdays when you listen to this show, people.
Yeah. Yes.
How's it going? Getting wound up, having an exciting conversation of like, how do we get rid of our junk after we're no longer here?
Oh, no fun.
Like, man,
It's not fun to talk about, but I have to.
it's like something you got to think about. Like, where does it all go? And, you know, for me, I don't have a ton of stuff that I actively try to give things away. It's just a byproduct of me. If I'm not using it, I don't want it. I don't want to look at it. Like, go. But I think about like the massive video game collections. And,
Yeah.
you know, you're listening and you're thinking like, of course, that'd be great to have. But you think about your family members. And you're like, video game thing, I got an Android game I played one time. That stuff, unless you've done something proactively to make sure it goes somewhere else, is probably just going to end up in a landfill.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Which is...
Where I'm at now that I'm older is I've only been keeping I had so many different collections, and about 10 years ago I had to decide, okay, what things I'm going to collect and that are most important to me, and the other things I either give them away or stop collecting. And I have done that. I'm mostly collecting just computer parts and Star Trek stuff. I'm not doing the fractals, the holograms, and all the other collections I've had over the years, which I love, but there comes a certain point where it's just, I don't have the space to be collecting all the things, nor the time. So the most important thing to me is my computer collection and my Star Trek collection.
See, my life's a lot simpler. I have a red controller collection.
Yes, you do.
There we go. I'm going to take it
Oil
with
of
me.
Hope.
I got to charge that PlayStation controller. I will not remember to charge that. We're going to be playing Trackmania Friday, and my battery's going to run out.
Oh,
like, man.
That's one thing I hate about the wireless stuff. My recent 8-bit do, I just got a wired one because I didn't want to deal with it. So
We'll go ahead and, before we get started, go ahead and slide that mic over so it's aimed at your face.
Oh.
To your right. Keep going.
A little more.
That'll work.
There we go.
So I got to do the social media things, and I got to get something to drink. Yeah, that
Go get something to drink, then. When you come back, I'll go. Hi, Mirror. Hump day. Yeah, on him.
Let's go ahead and move that mic over about that much more. You're talking to the... Right. Keep going. We're getting in proximity. All right.
Okay. It seems to be, from what I'm seeing, it's to the right too much.
No, it's like lined up. Here's an easy trick you can do when you're in the kitchen. Grab a straw, put it in your teeth.
Yeah.
And see what you're touching.
Okay. That makes sense. You know what it is because the mic's at an angle. So I'm looking at it, and it's already like a, not 45, but like a 35-degree angle. Do.
There we go. I got the social medias. Got a Skelmug. I'll be back in just a moment. Then Jill's going to do that, and we're going to hop into it. We got a show packed up for you this afternoon.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Sounds good. Oh, yeah. So, Arthurian, here. I got my everyday astronaut mug. This is actually Steve Husband's Everyday Astronaut mug from the wonderful YouTuber. It's one of his favorites, of course, and I enjoy watching him too whenever we have launches in space and anything going on. He's not going to be happy now. It's kind of cool, Art Theron, because I have my own, a lot of the mugs that I show on the show, aren't in the regular mug collection. They're in my Linux, my own personal Linux or geek collection. But then Steve and I actually have a cupboard in the kitchen with about 50 different mugs, and that we just kind of share. But I'm very careful. I make sure that, good evening, French guy. How are you? Yay. It was fun racing with you yesterday, as always. Yannick. So yeah, hubby, he knows I'm so very careful with things. It's okay that I'm using his Everyday Astronaut mug. In fact, I got it for him. Yeah, Yannick, have you been practicing on the maps yet since yesterday? I haven't had a chance to. I probably will. Maybe tonight or tomorrow. Yeah, cool. They're really fun maps. And Ven said he's going to take a couple out that we didn't like and replace them with some other ones. Oh. Oh boy. I just bought a new 8-bit do. Actually, I got 2 new ones. Because my original one, that's like 4 years old now, the buttons were starting to stick. So my brake would stay on when I was trying to accelerate. That's not a good experience. So, but it's been nice having a new one because I don't have those issues anymore. And then I got a new PlayStation 4 controller, a pink one. I haven't really played with that yet in games. Oh boy. Yeah, I think I have like over 30 controllers now. Part of being a collector, right? Computer collector and game collector. Yeah. Yeah, absolutely, Donna. It helps during burnouts to have a nice fresh controller.
Is that the strategy?
Xbox
Do we need to have like
360.
a spare? Well, here's the good thing about the Xbox controllers: AA batteries.
Mm-hmm.
Batteries run out.
Yeah,
You can swap
that is
them out.
nice. Yes.
We were talking about that. Like this thing, if I don't remember to plug it in, it will die on Friday, and it will die at the most inopportune time, like right when I'm about to win
right
something. Right then, you'll see me drive off the grass, but you'll never know because it's me. Like maybe Vin's just driving off the grass, which could be fair.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. Cool. Well, I will be right back.
All right. I don't mind the Xbox. What do I have? This is the Xbox One S controller. The only thing I don't like is the analog sticks are a little too high. And I bought this just to say I had one to test it for the Linux Gamecast. When we do games, I wanted to be able to test on the PS4 controller. But the analog sticks are real short on this. And that's really nice for driving. I get to log into my mail thing because I just get a notification that username, a package is headed in my direction. So I'm kind of curious. I'm almost at the age. I'm like, did I order something? I'm pretty sure I ordered something. But I definitely get the thing of like, wait a minute. I have like one thing that I ordered just a minute ago, like maybe 2 weeks ago, but I don't know where. Track the package. Review the details. Okay, this is what I'm doing. I'm logging into... I'm going to see where it was coming from. On its way to the UPS. Departed shipping partner facility. How do I do the product information? Tracking history. That's what I wanted to see. I don't know. Interesting. Yeah. You know what? I used to be very, very bullish on only using wired controllers, but here's the thing. It's 2022. It's 2022. Like, if you like wired controllers, you just like them. Like, the wireless controllers work just fine these days. There's no problems with them. And if you've seen the screenshots, not screenshots, desktop pictures, everything in here, everything's wireless. Minus the Stream Deck in front of me, because I don't like a bunch of wires on my desktop. Same with the controllers. I like being able to put them off to the side and not have to worry about it. And since we have these things called rechargeable batteries, well, that makes it all the better. I'm trying to figure out. Yeah, you're sure? All right. Let's get that together. And what do we have today? We're going to talk about the Lineotronics. We're going to talk about kernels. The first 2 stories is going to be about kernels, but then we're going to go right into CDE, because everyone remembers CDE if you're a certain age, and another window manager story. And against my better judgment, I'm going to tell you about something that will make QR codes infinitely more annoying. Then we're going to celebrate a Pi-powered birthday. And something else you could do, if you haven't done it yet, it's not really my jam, but Apex Legends is now working with Proton. And I think it's like Battle Royale type deal. Oh, is it case sensitive? Is that why I couldn't log in? That's why I couldn't log in. I don't know. And it's free to play. Yeah. I told that story in the pre-show. Years ago, gather around children. Old man Vin's going to tell you a tale. When I bought the 980. At the time, imagine this. I bought the 980, NVIDIA 980. The most expensive, biggest, baddest video card NVIDIA made at the time. And it was like $500. Everyone's like, you're insane. You're going to spend $500. And it was me too, because I don't usually buy high-ticket items until a couple of years later and I try to get them used. That's just how I roll. So I just straight up bought it new. But I just bought a car, so it didn't hurt as much. It's one of those deals. And I was like, well, I've already spent this much money, might as well. But that 980 came with 2 free Batman games. And you got to think, what year was it when the 980 released? And couldn't do anything with those codes. Yeah. So I'm like, okay, well, I got my 2 free game codes that came with my card and I'll never use them. Years later, Proton, like not even using it. And Proton came out. I'm like, I have some Windows games I can test. I have those Batman games. So I went and found my 980 box and took it out, scratched it off, and went and punched in the codes. They'd expired. They were invalid. Like, I was not upset. I was like, dang it. So the moral of this story, when I got the 2060 Founders Edition, it came with a free copy of Apex Legends that I had to jump through 11 hoops because that system to redeem the code, like most of these things, when you have to redeem a free product code, was silly. It was ridiculous. It was just a colossal waste of time, but I did it out of principle to say, I have Apex Legends. Maybe one day we can play it under Linux. And yesterday I launched it. I watched maybe 2 minutes of that intro video. I got into the tutorial, moved around a little bit, and uninstalled it. That's the end of my story.
Oh, hey, Nubbin. Hey, DeCresney. How are you? Crept 1C? Welcome. And Low Spec Linux Laptop. Welcome again. Yay, good to have you here.
Diverted trucker shipping facility. I'm trying to track down one of those lovely mystery packages when you get the email notifications like something's headed your way. What did I order? And I think it was something I ordered from Hong Kong.
Oh, yeah.
This is our working theory right now. I think it was something I got from Hong Kong.
I've always got something coming from AliExpress, and sometimes I forget about things because, you get it like 2 or 3 months later. I'm like, cool, I got this.
Exactly. It's that type of stuff. It's you never order anything from like eBay or AliExpress that's going to come from Taiwan, Hong Kong, or any place like that. You don't order anything that you need in the next month, basically. Mentally, you just like, oh, that'll show up eventually.
Just fun stuff. Yeah. And I just order fun stuff off there. Mm-hmm.
I think I had ordered low profile brackets for the fiber optic, for the fiber cards that I got. Those Mellanox cards. But come to find out, Mellanox was smart enough. So I went and checked the packaging for my other fiber cards, in which I wasn't using the low profile brackets. And the old ones worked with the new ones. So I didn't need it. So I think that's what's inbound. GameSir? What?
Yeah, you're a GameSire. I have a GameSire, and I got it working just fine under Linux, but I know there's certain models are problematic.
I don't know. Like I know, Jill, you got some like off-brand. I know Pedro's got some like weird controllers. I know OnePress has got some expensive.
Yeah.
Deal.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I like actually my GameCube controller works nice in Trackmania. I have played around with that. I finally got the profile working on it, so it'll work in Trackmania.
And I can name off a list of people that are like, man, I'm having problems with a controller. Like, man, just give me a PS4 controller. Done. We're out. I don't have like the strict, man. Okay, I have the X-Clone controller, which I will probably keep forever because it is an Xbox 360 controller. And normally you get the knockoffs and you plug them in and they're like, whatever. You plug this thing in, it registers as an Xbox 360 controller in the product ID. I mean, the thing is an Xbox 360 controller with the numbers filed off. I don't know if it was made on the B run at night when they weren't supposed to, but never a problem with that. But yeah, everything else outside of like the Logitech, the F series, I have one of those without the analog sticks. Yeah, just like a regular fighting controller.
Yeah. I was thinking of getting the 8-Bit Do has a nice little arcade controller. That's nice. That has a really big joystick on it. I was thinking of getting that and trying it in Trackmania.
The only like joystick controller I have is for my Neo Geo, but I'm sure somebody makes an adapter for that. But for what reason? Like it's only got 4 buttons. How could you play a video game with only 4 buttons? 4 buttons was crazy back in the time, kids. When the Mega Drive first came out, it had 3 buttons, and that was revolutionary.
Yeah.
C button. Like, what? Didn't know what to do with it. This newfound button. And where did we go from the Mega Drive? The Neo Geo had 4 buttons, so it was like twice as good. And after that, let's see, the first 6-button controller I ever got my hands on, because I had to make a special trip as a child to go get one, was the 6-button Mega Drive controller for Street Fighter. Because for Street
Yeah.
Fighter, high and low punch, you had to hold down the start button. You can immediately see where there's like, you couldn't do that. I was like, no, it wasn't playable. And,
Yeah.
then it was just crazy after that. Like, things just went.
You know, the controllers, some of the controllers I still like the best, but of course they don't work well in most games, are the paddles. The Atari 2600 paddles. I loved
Oh, you
those.
mean like that tourney thing with the...
Yeah. Yeah, we used to use it for Pong, but it was great for Space Invaders and, all the side scrollers and stuff like that. It's really good for that. And I was like, I'd like that for racing, to have, instead of a little knob to move around, you'd have a big one. But
I as much as I make the joke, I legitimately need to buy one of the, I think it was the Saturn or the Dreamcast fishing controller, just to have one like hooked up so I can try racing with it. Yeah, Bluetooth, surprisingly, I've not had issues with input HID devices, human interface devices under Linux. The first time I bought a Bluetooth dongle, I was floored. And this had to have been one.
yeah, it just worked.
Yeah, just plugged it
and
in.
play. Yeah, all mine have worked.
Detected it, and I connected my headset. And this is almost 10 years ago. I'm like, well, that's neat, huh? And it was one of those situations where I was sitting around going, well, you know what? I'd blocked off an entire afternoon to do this. I don't have anything to do now.
Yeah. Oh, Inertia, you have a Shield controller. Yeah.
17.
But yeah, as far as the 360 goes, I actually the regular size 360s are really too big for my hands. But I do have one of the little junior ones, and I do like it. But I think I prefer the layout of the PlayStation controllers.
I like the layout of the 360 style. This is more ergonomic.
Yeah. Your red one.
Than this for me. I don't know why it is, but it makes sense. Having the analog sticks right next to each other. I'm like, no, I like this one up here. It makes sense.
Okay, you do. See, that's what bothers me. It's too far away. With my hands, like my thumb keeps. I can't keep it on the joystick. It's just too big. So I like to have the two lower down. And sometimes I even, like on my 8-bit do, I've been actually mostly driving with the right-hand joystick, not the left. Because I found that better. You know what it is? Because on my left hand, I have more arthritis, I think. So, something you wouldn't think about, but it's a thing when you get older. So my left hand doesn't work as well as my right hand.
Yeah, I got my arthritic left hand but then again, I have no feeling in my left hand, so that always makes using controllers interesting.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, for me, it was just, I think from playing years of volleyball, and I could play with both of hands. I'm ambidextrous when playing sports, so I could play baseball.
Say that again.
Ambidextrous. I can't say it anymore.
We're getting there.
Ambidextrous.
Almost.
Anyways, I can use right and left when I play sports. So, but my left hand, I started using it a lot for spiking and serving, and then I actually ended up with a hairline fracture in my left arm, and that was not fun. And so ever since then, it's I've had arthritis in it.
Yeah, I'm just predisposed to arthritis. I went like short step. I put a nail gun through his hand and shattered all the bones.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Destroyed all the nerves and stuff like that. So that's a life hack. You don't have to waste all that time doing exercises and sports.
Yeah, you can do it in just a few minutes. You can destroy.
That's what I'm saying. It's an efficient way to do it.
Yeah.
Ambition and yeah, that thing.
Ambidextrous. I think I said it right.
I'll allow that. That's close enough. You know what I mean.
Yeah.
Ambidextrous. I don't know. I mean, this is like the whole thing. Like these days, like growing up, that was kind of a thing. Like, which hand do you write with? You know, I write left-handed, but I mean, have you seen my handwriting? But that comes down to like, how often do I write? Which it's a novelty now if I'm using a
Yeah.
analog writing device. I'm like, oh, this is neat. I kind of remember how to do this. But like outside of that, like you don't need a left-handed mobile device. They work both ways.
It's funny. I've had students and friends who are always amazed, you know, that if they're, because I do write with my right, but you know, a lot of my students will be left-handed and they're using left-hand mice, and they're always surprised when I can easily just sit down and do it. I'm like, oh yeah, no, I can use both. Because a lot of people that use left-handed mice can't use right-handed. It's a funny thing.
Yeah, some people like their I've just adapted over the years. Like I'm not a stubborn left-handed person. Like I bat right-handed. I use a right-handed mouse. I have used right scissors. Right-handed.
Yeah.
I play right-handed. I don't play left-handed guitar.
That's same with my hubby too, because he's also left-handed as well.
Yeah, it's just not something. I just don't see. It's not much of a challenge in 2022. Is what I'm getting at. Like, oh, we got it pretty good. Don't have to worry about things.
Yeah, I know.
This is what I need to create. I need to create a left-handed desktop manager.
Oh, hi, Boo Love. We were just talking about left-handed and right-handedness, and
Yeah, she said you were weird.
yeah, honey, you're like Vin. You play guitar on the right, even though you're left-handed.
I remember doing that when I was a
mishmash.
teenager. You know, I like swapped out an old acoustic with a nut bridge, and so I'm like, nope, Like I play cello, right-handed as well. So, well. But I always, I'm always on the lookout for a left-handed piano and hammer. All right, it is almost 3:30, so we need to get on the road and do that show thing we do.
Okay.
So I got that pulled up. Let me tap that. Let me check something real quick. Looks good. I didn't end up in detention very often. I say that, but I'll give you the qualifiers because I didn't get caught very often. Let's see if we got some music to play at the end of the show. We might, if I could find it. We got to do this each and every week because I have yet. Oh, I think we're getting close. Wait, is that it?
DeCresney. A ukulele. Upside down.
LGC outro. There it is. Yeah. I'm not cool enough to play a ukulele. All right, so we should be good to go. We're at 16. That's playing along. That's being nice. All right. I'm willing to risk it. What are you at? That's at 0. Cool. All right. Let's do issue. It's recording.
I like this track.
It's going to go bye-bye. Goodbye, track.
Boots and pants and boots and pants and boots and pants.
Yeah, man. You got to be booping along.
Yeah.
That's what I did. I inflicted, like, if you're in our Trackmania server, you probably want to cut the music off because I just set it to stream music that I'd normally listen to when I was racing. So it's a lot of funk.
Yeah.
I don't like that. I want something with some goddamn soul in it. All right. Hey everyone, welcome back to Linux Weekly Daily Wednesdays, where we sit back, relax, take that midweek break, talk about some of the fun things we found going on in the world of Linux, open source, basically anything we find interesting. That was the dulcet hello tone generator, Jill. Brian.
Yes.
It's the Jill tone. I'm the Vin tone.
We're the Ventones.
The Vin tone. We were talking about that on the Saturday show. It's been probably years ago because it's when we were first setting up the closed captioning system for the live streams. And I said Vinstone and it said Vintone. We're like, oh, that's lovely. So I immediately went and it's like, does Vintone exist? Because I thought it would be a cool like bit character or something like that. And there's a musician called Vintone. I'm like, man, that's unfortunate. But hey, is as it is. We got a lot to get into. Jill, you were, speaking of Saturday shows, you guys were doing like a little party time Saturday.
Yeah. We finally got together here in Los Angeles and had a LGC viewing party. We haven't had one since the pandemic. So it was me and Steve Husband, Strider, Mir, and Alan. And we had a great time. And it was just... It took us a bit just to get used to normalcy. It was like a strange thing, but it was really awesome, you know, watching the show with you guys and partying and having fun and visiting. So it was really special. It really was. So we will do it again soon.
You guys were able to touch one another.
Yeah. And it was... Yeah, it really is. It's like you have to learn how to socialize again. Me and Mir were talking about that. It's definitely a thing.
Well. What did I do? Oh, I'll spare you the story if you want to go back and listen to the live and uncut version, but I did. Here's the abridged version. I spent about 15 minutes playing Apex Legends on Linux, and by that I watched like 2 minutes of the intro video, and I tooled around in the tutorial. Because yesterday they went live with the repo and it now works with Easy Anti-Cheat with the latest Proton Experimental. If it's your gem, not necessarily my gem, I had to play it at least once out of principle for a reason that I went into. And what else am I doing? Oh, right. Some new audio plugin goodness. I'm playing around with the latest. It's not out yet. It's in the development branch on the GitHub repo if you want to check out that and compile it yourself. Linux Studio Project LSP plugins have been some really high quality audio plugins that have been available for Linux for a long time. And the latest version fixes the biggest reason that I typically do not use them. Support for high DPI. You can actually see them now, which on like the monitor over here, this is one of our little tiny monitors. It's 28 inches. But at 3840 by 2160, the old interface, the interface right now, if you installed LSP plugins, like in mice type, like nigh impossible to read. I had to drag them over to like the 40-inch monitor.
Oh boy, yeah.
They were super small. You know, they were of the time, but the DSP technology inside LSP is just great. I use the downward expansion currently, and for Trackmania, I use the limiter. the look ahead limiter, for a few milliseconds. Speaking of that, that was fun. We got on it Tuesday, picked out some tracks. I think everyone was digging all the tracks, Jill.
Yeah. Even Yannick, who's in chat now, he was enjoying the tracks as well. Yeah. Yeah, you had a good selection this week. I'm really enjoying them. I can't wait to practice.
It's a couple of curveballs. If you don't know about that, we do. We have our own Trackmania server. It's just fun. It's challenging for us old people, us scrubs, us filthy casuals, and we do that on Tuesdays. We get together, drop in 14 tracks. We go around them, see which ones we like, ones we don't. We can vote on them in the server, and we kind of mix and match. Then Friday, we move that over, and 7:30 p.m. Eastern time, back here on Twitch, we just go at it in a points match where the first, top 3 places, there's your incentive to practice. Get good.
Yes.
You win a free random game of your choosing, and you'll have to tune in to find out exactly how that works. So yeah, just playing around with a bunch of stuff. And fair warning, like everything's going nice and smooth. I'm playing around with the USB audio interface on today's show. So if anything goes completely haywire, we will blame the Doom protocol, which is USB.
Yeah. Experimentation in production.
Yes. So, audio production. I do know a little bit about under Linux. So I am familiar with this thing, Jill, you're going to talk about, which is real-time kernels.
Yeah, absolutely. So Intel continues to be a wonderful ally to open source and Linux. And the big news recently is that they just acquired Lunatronics. It's a German development house that provides services for Linux-powered industrial systems. And Lunatronics is the company responsible for the real-time Linux kernel. And it's otherwise known as the preempt_RT. And it was actually close to 2 decades ago. That's how old the real-time Linux kernel is, but there wasn't continued development on it because of lack of funding and contributors. And so this Intel acquisition of Lunatronics will really, really help with that. And more work's going to be done on the preempt kernel. And what's really wonderful about it is the preempt_RT patch actually makes the Linux kernel as preemptible as possible and lowers latency. And, with all the demands for the Internet of Things, industrial systems, robotics, embedded systems, edge computing, and of course AI, this can really help prepare Linux for the future. And the other cool thing is that the Lunatronics CTO, Thomas Gleixner, is also the principal maintainer of x86 architecture in the Linux kernel. So this is a really big deal. Intel acquiring Lunatronics is a game changer, and it's going to really help the Linux kernel.
It'll be interesting to see exactly how it shakes down now, but don't worry about these things. Don't panic, or panic, as the kids say, because the current plan right now is to keep them as an independent company. We'll see how that works out in the long run with Intel. Who knows? But they are the absolute architect for the preempt real time. Now, this is something that I run on the Jackbox in the studio, full RT, which you run into a very interesting set of problems, especially, get ready for this. This is going to be a shock, with proprietary drivers. I know, right? Like the Blackmagic hardware and the likes. But check this out. Typically when you think about real time, I think about audio because that's my experience with real time kernels. But real time, you're talking about industrial applications like communications between controllers, sensors, robots, tooling, other equipment like that. The problem with the RT patch set, and I think we might have even brought it up on the show in the past, is it's one of those things that everybody uses, but nobody really funds it. It's kind of been the problem with RT development over the year. And I am happy to report, I was talking about this in the pre-show, there's been a nice chunk of the preempt RT patches have made it into kernel 5.16. And I ran across that maybe a week, 2 weeks ago, because my typical thing is when I'm testing out audio interface or something like that, especially USB now that 5.16 is out. I took 5.16, I downloaded the real-time patch set, XZCat. I'm like, okay, let's apply the patch. And it said, hey, some of this stuff is already in here. I'm like, oh, interesting. So yeah, I'm just doing like a regular desktop, preempt setup from the kernel with nothing extra added to it. And we're testing it live right now in production. Yeah. As of, what was it? RT19 with 5.16.11. Yeah. When the patch that was complaining, it was like, some of the stuff's already in there. It's working the best I can tell. So that's just good news all around.
Mm-hmm.
Now, Licrix is something I don't want to say I got mixed feelings about, but it's something you might have heard about. It is, hey, let's install it. And it's going to make everything the better, right, John? It's just everything just works better? Is that what it says?
Supposed to make the things faster, like gaming and multimedia.
It could.
Not unlike the Zen kernel.
Yeah. Well,
yeah.
If we're going to be talking about RT stuff, and I know we brought up Licrix kernel, Pedro had used it or might still currently use it. I also want to bring up ZenMod. It's another general purpose Linux kernel. You know what? Hear me out on this. Like Licrix, it aims to provide everyone with a kernel that sports RGBs and racing stripes. And the latest production ready version came out like last week. So that's kernels 5.10, 5.16, 5.15. Now, according to ZenMod, the kernel is recommended for Linux gaming servers, clients, esports, streaming, live production, and ultra-low latency enthusiasts. Man, have you ever tangoed with an ultra-low latency enthusiast? It's all teeth and nails. There's some dangerous kids, man. But
or for those of us who like to use Jack, it is helpful. Here's
the thing. It might be worth looking into these specialty kernels, be it Licrix or ZenMod, if you need fixes for AMD's P-State driver for the Zen2, Zen3 architecture. But outside of that, I'm just going to tell everyone a shrug emoji. I know somebody was getting ready to you shouldn't recommend these vendors. I'm not recommending them. For real-time multimedia production, live streaming under Linux, stock Debian kernel works for me. Debian ships full RT, and you can always recompile and set up voluntary preemption. Never had a problem with it. Now, I will say, if you want to play around with this, it's probably not going to hurt anything. You're not going to be in any danger playing with these. See if you yourself get any type of real-time benefit out of this. Try it out. Leave a comment on the video. Let me know. But yeah, generic packages, Debian and Ubuntu based distributions, you should be good to go. So I just wanted to mention that, since I saw hey, they got a recent release, and maybe somebody's like, no, you got to understand, I absolutely have a use case for this, and this is the measurable improvement and gains and functionalities that I've experienced with it. I just haven't run across it. So who knows? But what's this hipster thing, Jill?
Yeah. Speaking of not having the latest things, but this is awesome. But it is the latest thing. Okay. So I think what we're going to talk about now gives me and Ven both nerd chills. This is an X window manager based on the Common Desktop Environment, also known as CDE from the Sun Solaris and Unix days, of yore. It's was one of my favorite window managers from the day. But this new one is called NSCDE, or the Not So Common Desktop Environment. And NSCDE's main goal is to revive the look and feel of the common desktop environment. And it is actually based on the FVWM X window manager with lots of theming, configuration, and custom FVWM applications. And it is enriched with Python and Shell background drivers. So I know the author was saying he wanted, yes, you can go and use OpenCDE, but he wanted a more modern framework for his version of CDE. So that's why he used the FVWM X Window Manager instead. And that makes sense. So you could have, more modern applications and drivers and whatnot. So it's definitely a cool thing. But this is just, gave me nerd chills because I love CDE, grew up with it.
I tangoed professionally with CDE. That was the only desktop that I messed around with for almost an entire decade. Hi, son. But
yeah.
Even today, you got to admit, it's not strictly nostalgia and hipster stuff. You look at CDE and you look at this in SCDE, it still looks functional. It still works. It still gets the job done. Notice, I didn't say it looked good. I didn't say it was pretty. I said it was functional. You could still accomplish anything you needed to do. Now, if you needed, it's themed kind of, because it has a theme generator for, ZAW, Motif, GTK2, GTK3, QT4, QT5. So all of your X apps are going to look retro, or whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
And, as Jill said, it's largely a wrapper. But, yeah, I mean, you can think of it as like a very heavyweight theme for FVWM. Here's what I like about CDE. Definitely. To a lesser extent, XFCE. The good thing about CDE and something that looks like CDE is which is not a problem now in like adulthood, but I know in university especially, I wanted something that if I left my desktop unattended, no one wanted to tango with. They'd come up to it, look at it and go,
yes,
that's some moon operating system stuff.
That's old school.
It wasn't old school at the time.
No, that's true. But I remember the looks I would get when I was running CDE and Window Maker, and I still do run them.
It's a deterrent to keep people off of your PC, and that's what I'm getting at. And even today, I'm pretty sure CDE works just as good as it did 20 years ago. Hey, let's take this out. What is, I don't know. No, I'm not going to use this. So yes, how would I want to put that? User-friendly is a coiled rattlesnake, which is good. It's a good deterrent to keep people from messing around with your box. They're not going to know what to do with it. And best case scenario, teach your children how to use CDE by installing this.
Yeah.
And they're like, oh yeah, if you want to go figure it out. Cool project. And
it's awesome. I mean, yeah, you still need desktop managers that are low memory and efficient, and CDE is one of them. So
now I want to say CDE probably is. I don't know. I would have to install NSCDE because
NSCDE. Well, FEWM is pretty light. Even if he makes it heavy, it's probably still going to be lighter than maybe say Window Maker, but maybe not.
Maybe not. For everything else, there's XFCE. But XFCE is like user-friendly these days. You could figure out how to use it. Now, that's one window manager. But this is an entirely different story. This is cardboard. It's not a tiled. It's a scrolling tiled window manager. And you know what? It is absolutely not suitable for day-to-day use by most users. But man, when has that ever stopped us? So this comes from a blog post, and a gentleman was saying, I kind of got a problem staying focused when I'm working on things, and this really helped me out. So what does Cardboard do? It automatically arranges all of your windows side by side on a continuous scrolling horizontal plane. Yeah, look at it.
Nice.
Look at it. It's like a dating app for your desktop minus the swiping. Pretty neat. Switching between apps, you can do it with the keyboard shortcuts by scrolling. None of that's set up. By the way, no drag and drop support, no default shortcuts, no toolbars, no clocks, no power control, none of that to get in your way of sliding right or left. And he does say it's a bit crashy, but maybe I kind of like the concept, Jill. I'm looking at them like, that's neat.
Absolutely. Yeah, no, there actually are a small number of scrollable tiling window managers, otherwise known as STWM. But this one actually looks really awesome. I love the responsiveness of it and the look and feel. It looks really nice. I do want to play around with this one. And I like tiling window managers. I mean, I honestly still use rat poison, and that one you use without a mouse. So it's okay. This one you can use a mouse to adjust the sizes of your applications. So that's nice.
It doesn't look too difficult to... I don't know. Like, it might be something fun to play around with. It might not. Usually when I hear somebody talking about like tiling window managers, I'm like, you need a hobby, don't you? Yeah, you do. And that'll take care of it. It's neat. I like this. I like the design idea. I wouldn't mind something like that. Who made it? I'm sure somebody, I know I've seen one, like a swipe touch hid device.
Okay.
You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like just a swipe bar where I can just do that. You can't see what I'm doing if you listen to the audio. Imagine I'm doing that.
You're sliding, kind of like what we used to do with WebOS and cards. Slide them over.
I could get behind that. If I was working on a project that... here's an analogy. There we go. That's the word I was looking for. Think about like on Android when you do the tiles, when you hit the square button, I think it is. It brings up and you just go through everything. Kind of like that, but keeping everything in focus.
That's from WebOS.
So
that was what they took from.
Pretty.
Yeah.
One last bit.
It's really awesome.
Before we get out of here, I don't know. See, I got mixed feelings about telling people about this, Jill.
Oh yes. Ben found this one.
I don't know.
This is cool.
I feel like I might be held responsible for some of the nonsense that comes out of animated QR codes made easy. Black and white, color. Don't know how useful this is. Personally, I find it horrifying and offensive, and it's a front. It's a testament to the arrogance of mankind. If I really had to say it, and it's pip installable. Of course it is. Pip install. Amazing AMZ QR. And this is just really simple to set up a QR code that blinks and okay, I guess. Or if you just want to add some color or an image to a QR code.
There's Totoro and there's the GitHub OctoKitty. But honestly, I think, having colored and animated QR codes is a great way for advertising and to get attention. And it's just nice to have an upgrade to now. It's kind of an old technology. So QR codes have been around a while. Yeah.
The reason I felt this was safe for public consumption is I was trying to, I don't scan QR codes. I just don't. I don't have a QR code scanner on any of my mobile devices. And it's not like, they're trying to. It's like, I know what I can get up to with a QR code. So no. Here's the thing. An animated one, okay, it's fun. It's novel. Come on. If you looked at it okay, that's kind of neat. If you didn't have that reaction, you're more dead inside than I am. But when I say that, it's like, okay, if we'll get an animated QR code, that's probably going to be on a website. And I'm like, if I'm on a website, why don't I just put a hyperlink up there, Jill?
Well, it's so you don't have to type it in.
I can just click on it.
The one advantage, you can just...
What do you mean? Type it in. I'm on the computer. I just click.
But if you're outside, people put QR codes on, banners and flyers and even on, big road signs. And you can just, take a picture of it with your phone and it goes to the URL.
Display, or it's not going to be animated. That's what I'm saying. You got to have this on an active display in order to get any advantages. Yeah. Now, if you're just doing it to include an image, maybe.
Oh, so Vin, you haven't seen the animated signs from the highway? We have them here in Los Angeles.
Oh, we've had them here for decades. But I'm talking, that's what I said. It has to be on a display. It can't be on. Yeah.
It can't be on it. Yeah. But a pretty colored one can. You can print out the still ones.
I mean, you give me some watercolors, I can do that too.
Yeah.
Maybe it's neat. Hit me up. I'm sure somebody has a creative use for this. I just wow, it's just neat. I wanted to throw something neat in.
It's cool.
Yeah, at the end of this. Mm-hmm. So another thing that's neat, if you like what we do, this is not a break for a commercial. It's a break to thank you, everyone who's supporting us on patreon.com/Linux Gamecast. Thank you. You let us do what we do, and we get to do it our way. Yes. We don't ever have to worry about asking can we cover this, or is it okay if we say something about this? And no, this is what we think. Like it or not, we're being honest with you. We're sharing our thoughts, and it's been fun being able to do all of that. We got a bunch of rewards and perks if you're able to kick in 4 quarters a week or more, including the pre-show and post-show for everything in podcast and video format like this. You're like, man, this is like 30 minutes. This is like an hour and a half long live stream we do on Twitch. Speaking of that, if you want to watch us live, twitch.tv/Linux Gamecast, access to our Discord where we're hanging out the other 6 days of the week. I'm in there dropping all type of mad nonsense like I do because I'm me. I popped in did you see the Pong game that I posted this morning?
Yes.
Stay away from that.
I love Pong.
Stay away from that. Yeah, you play as the ball in this Pong game where you tap and you're like, oh, that's silly. You're like, I can do better than this. 20 minutes later, like, I can keep going.
Yeah.
We get a discussion open like that. Of course,
That's
we
cool.
got IRC and our IRC live chat, be it through Discord, IRC and Twitch is tied together with a bot when we're doing live streams, completely free, always open. And yeah, you want to visit our web zone, linuxgamecast.com. You don't need an ad blocker because I don't put ads up there. And we host all of our stuff ourselves. So it's pretty dope. Pretty dope. Thanks for letting us do this. And you can just head over to linuxgamecast.com. We got a support button with a gang of things like Wishlist and Patreon and merch and shirts and all this stuff.
And merch.
Yeah. No fanny packs, unfortunately. It's kind of sad.
No.
So we need to talk about Raspberry Pis, and this is a special occasion because
Yes.
I know Jill wants to go, it's vintage. And I'm like, nope.
No.
Hold off.
Yeah, I know.
Hold off. Not yet. Wait it out because we're talking about 10-year-old Pi. That's what I imagine.
Ew, moldy pie. Ew. That was a good one, Ben. Moldy.
Oh, Computer Museum. Raspberry Pi is turning 10. The National Museum of Computing launches innovative new pop-up exhibition in celebration of this milestone anniversary. That's right. As I was alluding to, the Pi is halfway to becoming a retro/vintage because that's where I draw the line, everyone.
The line.
Minimum 20 years before you even think about coming at me with retro or vintage around something. The Pi launched in February 29th, 2012. A few weeks after that,
Wow.
I was spending an afternoon getting X up and running on it and trying to launch Firefox because I thought that was novel. And it took a while to get going. These days,
Oh, yeah.
it's crazy. Unfortunately, because Pis have just never really come back in stock right now. I think what happened is everybody who has a Pi kit bought up the entirety of the stock. You can get a Raspberry Pi 4 8 gig right now all day long, as long as you want to buy the extra $150 worth of accessories that come along with it. But just getting a bare board is kind of hard. But once that dials down, you're talking about, quad core ARM, 8 gigs of RAM for $100, $70 and something like. It's a massively
It's
overpowered
amazing.
piece of kit for once it normalizes back in price that I use to power the Stream Deck in the studio. It's the one thing I use the Raspberry Pi for. Like, it's a serious, I downplay it because I think it is borderline humorous that I've taken something that powerful. Like, what do you do? I was like, you control a Stream Deck. But in order to do that, it's running a LAMP stack or a ZAMP stack, whatever you want to call it these days, an entire web server that's tied into the Steam Deck to broadcast with OBS WebSockets, with OBS on a different computer. It's amazing what you can do for so little. And 10 years, it kind of feels like 10 years, maybe.
Yeah, to me, it just seems like it's been only like 5 years ago. But yeah, I do recall playing with it 10 years ago. I mean, I remember when it came out, we had a Linux Chicks of Los Angeles meeting and we did an install fest to teach people how to install Linux on their Raspberry Pis. And boy, that wasn't that long ago. It doesn't seem like it, but it really was.
Halfway to being vintage.
Yeah, it sure is.
Man.
And I think it's, amazing. It has, revolutionized computing. It has brought computing in the hands of those that, third world countries and children and those that don't have a lot of money. And it's become the hacking computer of choice. It's amazing. It's amazing. Oh, just amazing little computer. And it's the top selling computer in the world.
You do that and you think about how much it's branched out. Like, it's still serviceable. They don't have a billion different SKUs for the Raspberry Pi. But you have the Raspberry Pi compute modules. You have the Raspberry Pi Zeros. I have the original Zero W, and I have the new Zero W too, which I know I'm slacking everyone. This Digigram videos really held me up, but I get around to doing an updated wireless webcam video about that. And just all of it's neat. All of it's cool. It's very easily accessible. You know, before the Raspberry Pi, people would want to get into things, and I'd crack out my Arduino and like, hey, you want to, like, ew, get that away. But, you know, give them something that is capable of running desktop Linux. Like, oh, okay, I'll play around with that. And an educational tool alone for the price, it's like 8% better than an Apple IIe, because that's absolutely what I had in primary school. Like,
yeah. Oh, yeah, definitely. Definitely. And I think it's cool. You know, you could just go to the local Micro Center computer store and get the $5 ones. I mean,
right?
Gosh. Yeah. So I have a handful of those. And then probably every generation of Pi, including the Raspberry Pi 400, which is wonderful because they went back to the old days of putting the computer in the keyboard, like the Commodore 64 and the Apples and all the micros from the day. And they brought that framework back, and it's taking off. It's great.
Now, I'm curious, because when you say the Raspberry Pi 400, I'm like, I wonder how many people got the Pi 400 and kept it in the box.
I had considered it, but I just have one right now. But maybe in the future I'll get another one for my collection in box.
I'm curious if it's even a thing. Model, what was it? Model 1, Model 8, right?
Yeah.
Was that the original? What I'm doing right now is completely on the side. I'm on eBay right now. I'm like, has anybody got one of these in the box?
Oh, okay.
Okay, I found a Pi 3A in the box, but no, I'm not seeing.
Oh, okay. I haven't checked eBay lately for all the older models, but I do have one of every generation.
You better start, Jill. You better start, because I've seen this. I've seen this attack happen. Was what was it? The Wii U. I was looking at buying a Wii U, and Wii U's. I was looking at getting them right when they were at the base model, where you get like a base model with the tablet controller. I was buying it to play Bayonetta 2. That was it, and I was going to toss it, give it away if I could. And I don't know. Then I should have pulled the trigger, because like 30 seconds after I was like, yeah, you know what? I'll pick one of those up. Nintendo discontinued the Wii U. Then all the hoarders came out and bought them, like, oh, it's retro now, guys. And they bought them all up, and now the price is like $200, $300 for a Wii U. I'm like, get out of here. That's never going to happen. Not my world. I'll buy a Switch and play Yuzu. Then I'll put a video up about it and post it on YouTube. And then Nintendo will hit me with a Digital Millennium copyright strike, like they did that guy.
Oh, no.
Yes. Yesterday, who didn't show anybody how to do it. And I'm like, hey, look, you can run the Switch emulator on the Steam Deck, and copyright. They abused the DMCA. Because Nintendo, guess what? Will always be Nintendo.
They're proprietary, but that's the beauty of the Raspberry Pi. Open source.
For the most part. Kinda.
Open source. Most of the hardware is. A lot of the hardware is. But the software for it, you can download open source software, of course, for the Raspberry Pi and all the different Linux distros.
I don't know about you, Jill. I only run Windows 10 on my Raspberry Pi. Why are you?
No, I wouldn't do that. It's too heavy for it. Maybe the new one, the Raspberry Pi 4, I heard does run it. Kind of. But it's better just use the Raspberry Pi OS, or put, which used to be called Raspbian. That works great.
Raspbian
nice and
OS,
lightweight.
yeah. I mean, in the new 64-bit version. But I definitely think about that, like the weird things, like the strange curiosity weekend projects. Absolutely. I would be putting the Windows 10 ARM build on a Raspberry Pi. Why? Because I'm morbidly curious. The same reason as I'm absolutely curious is to see how Windows 10 and 11 runs on a Steam Deck. Like, I want to watch that. I want to see people taking this perfectly good Linux-powered function, purpose-built, general purpose device, and installing their
Linux.
Stupid hacker operating system on it. Windows.
Yeah.
Yeah. tables have turned. I don't know.
No,
Anyway.
the battery life won't be as good. Apparently, the battery life is incredible on it with Linux.
That depends. I mean, you can burn through the Steam Deck's battery in under an hour if you want.
Oh yeah, but I mean, Sebastian, Linus Tech Tips was really impressed with the battery with some games of obviously like Portal if you're going to.
Well, it's not necessarily
older
the games so much. It's what not resolution, but what detail settings you're running at and whether or not, because Valve just released an update a couple of days ago to limit everything out of the box to 60. Just by default, because people were running these things just graphics maxed out at, uncapped, no VSync.
4K.
We're not running it for it's 720p display, but
yeah, but you can hook it up to an external monitor.
You can do an external, and you can also
do
FSR with the scaling, but Valve's trying to. Here's the thing with the Steam Deck. The reason all of us want one is because it's an unfinished project. It's a product. I mean, there's more to be done with it. And I'll talk more about that
work in
on
progress.
Saturday. Yeah, it is. It is the software side. Hardware is baked, and you cannot get a better value. You can't get a laptop with those specs for anything near $400. That's just reality.
Absolutely.
We went over that last Saturday. Go back and watch that. Until then, we got to bounce out of here. Thanks for showing up. We'll see you again next week. I'm going to roll some credits as soon as I find where I need to double click on a thing.
Love you all. Aw, thanks for joining us. Crept 1C, Linux Gnaru, Mir. Yeah, we got Yannick in there. We have Nubbin. We have Katana. We've got Inertia. So many awesome people. My Steve husband,
Linux
of
Nero,
course.
I see how you showed up in the chat and you typed fixed it with a picture of keyboard. What are you trying to tell me, Lassie? Is Timmy stuck in a well? Without context, that means nothing.
He must got his keyboard put together. He was doing that after our Trackmania on Tuesday. He was going to do a stream on putting together his keyboard. Arthurian, love you too, and drummer too.
All right, beautiful people. We got to bounce out of here. Thanks for showing up. And remember, friends don't let friends install Windows 10s.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. That was a good end, Irvin. Friends don't let friends install Windows 10.
All right. We're going to kick up the after show. So we got about 10 minutes. I got to do a little bio break, get something to drink. And if you get any questions, thoughts, hints, allegations, wind them up and drop them in chat.
Oh, Crept 1C. Yeah. I know your name, and I'm trying to think. I think you go under a different name somewhere else. Didn't it used to be... Well, it's Cryptic. Yeah, Cryptic. Cryptic. Nah, okay, you just lurk here. Okay. Awesome, Cryptic. That makes sense. I like how you used a little bit of elite in your name. Elite speak. Yay! Yeah, so we had a lot of fun stuff. I love it when we do can talk about new window managers. That just excites me. I was happy we found 2 of them. Yeah, drummer. So I installed Windows 11 instead. Can you imagine? I never attempted putting Windows 11 on a Raspberry Pi, but I remember when the Pi 4 came out, a lot of people were testing that, and it just was not a good experience. Windows KDE edition. Yeah, I do like i3. And I like Awesome. Awesome is nice because you can actually play AI games with it too. It works well without having issues. i3 kind of play games, but Awesome allows you to do full screen as well, which is nice. Plasma shell on Windows is no longer a thing. Yeah, you're right, Don M. Gosh, I remember those.
I think Enlightenment is
Enlightenment.
fantastic, but Enlightenment is whatever the opposite of stable is. It's that.
It has improved a lot, but yeah, there are still some issues.
It crashes ever. That means it's unstable.
Yeah, when you're trying to do
when you're in the middle of live streaming
and WebRTC.
Yeah. Like, I think of code quality these days. Like, does this thing ever die? Can I kill it?
Yeah, Drummer. I love Budgie too. I have Budgie on a couple of my laptops. I think it's a great experience, especially when you're on a single monitor. It's just really a nice experience.
Oh, what do you mean on a single monitor? Who would ever be on a single monitor, Joe?
I know. Yeah, I never am, except when I'm on my laptop, of course. That's why I put Budgie on my laptop.
If I was stuck like that, I'd take this 13-inch monitor I have as a monitor with me, because it's got the USB-C thing on it.
Speaking of which, Enlightenment is excellent with multi-monitor. In fact, it was one of the first window managers that even had multi-monitor support years ago. So it's cool. Yeah, that was the first desktop manager I used multi-monitor on, was Enlightenment.
I think the first time I'd set up, like, at home on Linux, maybe 2001, maybe 2002.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
Because I had inherited a little LCD monitor. Like, they were rough. I mean, it wasn't even what was it? What were the resolutions in the olden times? 640 by 480, 8 by 6,
1024 by 768,
right.
800 by 600. Yeah.
1024 by 768. It wasn't
768. Yeah.
It wasn't quite 1024. And it was one of the early ones. But he was getting rid of it because he was getting a CRT because he played FPSs, and it came with this wicked expensive PC. And it was hilarious because it was one of those things where I would bring someone over and I'm like, check this out, start up Unreal and just move left and right, and it would just smear. Like, there was no, I mean, it was laughably bad. Like, if I'd shown you that video, you would have accused me of doing something to make it do that. Like, no. That's how it was back in the day.
Yeah, so the first time I used multi-monitor was with CRTs with my old Matrox card. Probably like the Pentium, on my Pentium Pro. Yeah, that would have been, or a Pentium 133. Because it had dual head support, and later came out with the 4-head support. But I used Enlightenment with it, and it just worked great. And then I used also Window Maker, and yeah, that was, it's been a while since I thought about that, but yeah, that was a thing. CRT multi-monitors.
I had one CRT, one LCD.
We were styling.
The thing is it's easy to forget, or maybe you never experienced it, the amount of desk real estate. Even a, 15-inch. And, like,
oh, yeah.
Just the depth of them. Like, it's boggling. 17-inch?
Boggles the mind.
Okay, you mean 17-inch. 17-inch, 4.3-inch viewable. Remember that nonsense?
Yeah.
No, it's like, I got a 15-inch CRT, but it's 13.2-inch whatever viewable because they have the super big chunky bezels on them.
Yes.
It was dark times.
Oh, yeah.
Now it's just, it's weird. It is strange. I mean, I consider like these monitors are tiny, but man, like, I would have done some things back in the day to have a 21-inch flat panel.
Oh, yeah.
Like that was truly,
yeah.
it would hurt your brain just to think about like a 21-inch LCD. What? Didn't know
Yeah,
what to
I
do with it.
know. God, I mean, in the 90s, I got a 21-inch Mitsubishi Diamond Scan CRT. It's redundant. So the thing weighs 85 pounds. I still have it. It was sitting over here for years. But it and it was component too as well, and it worked with Sun, Mac, and PC. So it had all the correct hertz and refresh for all the different systems. And that thing, if I didn't have it, I couldn't have done freelance animation. I mean, that's saved my life, that CRT, because I don't see well, and then trying to do animation on a 17-inch monitor was horrible experience. So that was the monitor that really helped with my career and being able to make commercials and whatnot.
For years, the only CRT that I used were Sun GVM20s.
Yeah.
You know, they were Trinitron, and, you know, you got to consider this is like early, mid-2000s. They were almost 1080p at the time.
Yeah, yeah.
Like,
no, those were
a couple of pixels off. They were 4:3. But I still have one.
Yeah, my Mitsubishi Diamond Scan from 1995, that thing had 85 refresh rate on it, which was unheard of. It was a professional monitor. Actually, I'd gotten it from an animation house. So it was like old stock. Someone was getting rid of it. And I'm like, oh, that's mine. That's mine. I still paid quite a bit for it, but it was originally like a $2,000 monitor. It was insane.
Yeah, the degauss, questionable, like that.
Oh yeah.
Don't really know if it does anything, but man, it makes a noise.
Yeah, it sure does.
I haven't seen any monitors. Like, here's my problem. Here's your first world problems. That I will
Don him.
absolutely have an issue getting anything smaller than a 43-inch monitor from now on.
Oh yeah, same here, Ben. Same here. Except for my other workstations, but for broadcasting, absolutely.
I've looked at, like, because I do a lot of
Yeah, like
content
ViewSonic.
production, and it's really invaluable, you know, having that much desktop real estate.
Yeah, I love it just because of the sheer number of, applications and programs you have to have open, to do streaming or podcasting. It's just really necessary.
You should try it from the
More
streaming
real
side.
estate.
Yeah.
Yeah. I've done a bit of it, and it's, it's a thing.
I don't miss CRTs one bit.
Nope, bad for the eyes. I was always worried about that, having to be so close to the monitor. Ugh. I would take breaks, after like a half hour or so using the monitor.
Well, that was some of the myths that our parents tried to drill into us. Like, don't sit too close to the TV, you'll go blind. Like, that is not backed by any research whatsoever. And if it was the case, we would all be blind.
Yeah. No, that's true. But with me, it was a little unique because I had to be literally a few inches from the screen to do my work. And that's not good. Because the radiation. Just the radiation.
That was because of the eye strain. It wasn't the radiation. It was your eye strain.
Yeah.
So there's a...
Eye strain was a thing. Yes, severe
24-inch. That's a widescreen GDM. So... You want a widescreen CRT?
Yeah.
Yeah, and look at that. This is legit. My GDM20 is like that. It just keeps going and going and going. And and the base that they son put these things on was not like, it is one of those things where you carefully set it on the base, because if you just set, you'll snap that thing in half. I broke so many of those monitors.
It'll snap it. Yeah, I still have one in the garage. I still have it by some of my Sun machines.
How much does the oh, there's an NEC multi-sync.
Yeah, I have.
You see, I look at the stuff and I'm like, I remember that, but I have nothing in me. Nothing in me goes, don't you want to get another one? No. I don't want any of this junk in my house. It took long enough to get rid of it. Check it out. It's vintage, right? Oh, man, is that a short throw? No. Oh, man. Okay, I was thrown off. These do exist. There's some shallow depth CRT tubes that were made.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I remember those.
That's what I thought this was, but it's not. It's got the big chunky cathode ray in the back. Set up like that. So, yeah. LCD was the you have IBM had the active gas plasma displays back in the day. I don't think
see this. I found one. See, this is the smaller version of what I still have, and they sell for bucks because they were redundant. Like it had two tubes in it, so if one died, the other would kick in. Okay. And I've seen the other tube kick in before. I was worried because all of a sudden, the screen started going whoop, and then I saw the other one would turn on and went boosh, and it took a while for it to light up. But that hasn't happened. It only happened once when I was using it. So that then is what used to be sitting right here, except this is the 20-inch. I had the 21, an inch bigger.
It's only $191 to ship it.
Yeah, I know. But it still works, and that's the amazing thing. They built them like tanks. As it's Japanese parts and
65
but
pounds.
So yeah, that's what they used to. Rhythm and Hues, one of the local big animation houses back in the time.
Are they still around?
No, unfortunately. Yeah.
Because that was always option B after ILM. It's like, yeah, Rhythm and Hues.
Yeah, Rhythm and Hues. They're the ones who did all the effects for TNG and all the Star Trek films. But yeah, I used to take my students on field trips to Rhythm and Hues back in the day. But yeah, that's where my monitor came from, because I had friends that worked there, and they're like, "Joe, we're getting rid of some of these, but I still had to pay for it, but it was deeply discounted."
Nice. Mm-hmm. Yeah, we got about 5 minutes.
But yeah, just having that higher refresh rate was a game changer. It helped my eyes tremendously.
Not a hipster for old hardware. Yes, you are.
This is cool seeing this. I haven't seen one of these pop up in ages, so it's nice to see this.
Well, you can get a the like Sony, like the GR222s. They're much more reasonably priced. They're not going to have to bone it out on them, I don't think. But then again, I mean, the only reason you would have one of these is because you wanted one at this point. Like,
yeah,
absolutely. Like, I want one. And like, I envy you having that much just random space to dedicate to a something that you don't use.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, rumors. I don't know. I mean, old hardware is neat, but that's not something I want I don't need the consistent neatness of something. Like, that's neat. I'm gonna leave it now.
Oh. Boo boo, yeah. I got your everyday astronaut mug.
Oh, okay.
Because I realized I hadn't used it on the show before. So we love this mug. I'm taking care of it, as you know. I always do. It just has water in it.
Now,
isn't that cool, Boo?
Here's
It's
something
just one of his favorite mugs.
An absolute money-making idea. If you could get together, see, I don't even know the factories or if the know how to do this, but if someone could turn out modern, high-quality CRT displays with digital inputs.
Oh, that would be really cool. Yeah.
Because, I mean, you could absolutely sell like 15 and 17-inch CRT, you know, with HDMI component in display.
That would be so cool.
I mean, people would pay $500-600 a pop for these things because they're almost paying that
absolutely.
for like old Sony monitors. Like,
yeah. Absolutely, Vin. There's definitely a market, especially because, you know, a lot of the old games just, you know, look smoother, of course, on the old CRTs because that's what they were made to play on.
well, yeah. I mean, they took the designers took care of that when they were designing sprites for the aliasing.
Yeah,
so you didn't see the blockiness, which is what I like. I find very laughable now that people are like, look how sharp the pixels are. I'm like, that was the point, is to not see the pixels as prominently. But you know what? Get off my lawn. Yeah, the problem I think manufacturing like CRT monitors in modern days, like you lose so much of your profit in just trying to ship them though. You know, it's like $100 to ship.
Yeah, that's the problem. Yeah.
This company in Texas still making CRT? Yeah, but it's making for the military. You know, those things are junk. Military grade, which means lowest bidder.
Yeah, 1600 by 1200. I remember running it at that resolution. Oh my God, that was awesome. I used to run 3D Studio at that resolution. And Window Maker.
Can you still get Trinitron tubes? Nope. Oh, well. I think there's a market for that. I genuinely think there's a market for that, but I don't know. I wouldn't even know how to go about making a modern display. And it would have to be from reclaimed parts. Because I don't think anybody's making cathode ray tubes anymore.
No, that really is a good idea, though. Like digital input CRT, and I think I came across someone who was working on that, but I don't know what happened with it.
You know what? This is not a bad deal. There's 5 hours left on this. I was digging around. That's a BR800 1080i.
Oh, 250. It's not bad. Hey, that's not bad.
It's not bad. That is a widescreen CRT that you can absolutely get your retro gaming fix on. There's a 3.
Do you know what? That's the one my grandmother had.
It's got
told her to get the
DVI.
Sony one.
DVI in.
Yeah.
Look at that. HD DVD. Oh, it's got component. Of course, it's got...
Oh, yeah, Boo. You know, Logitech makes the charge. I think it's induction. Yeah, it's induction charging. The mouse on the mouse pad. You remember I was telling you about that.
I wouldn't... Here's what I want. I want a big desktop mat that is just filled with cancer or whatever you want to put in it. That is just one big induction charger. But then I want all of my devices. But here's the problem, though. I've had this almost 2 years. I have yet to replace the batteries in it.
Yeah, that's sweet. That's the nice thing about the Microsoft devices. They do last forever if they're battery charging.
Which I'm going to be hurt because this has two 2 AAAs in it. And for these 2 years, Jill, I've been saying, you really need to go buy a set of AAA rechargeables. 2 years later, still haven't done it. This is going to be.
Oh, yeah.
It is going to be digging out a keyboard. I'm like, man.
Yeah.
So I'll be using this for a week.
Oh, yeah, Mir. Yeah, that's right. Razer does too, and Corsair. Yeah.
Yeah,
I think I have a Razer one, but I've never used it.
That's like one of the things, though. Induction charging is just kind of a common thing these days. You're like, yeah, it's got the charging thing built in. That's neat. The only thing I don't like about induction charging from the engineering standpoint is it's just an egregious waste of energy. Mm-hmm. Like you were just burning power for convenience for a.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, it's wasteful.
Being polite about it, if we're saying yes, it's wasteful. Well, nice.
Yeah.
Oh, you see, drummer, I
cool.
agree with you. It's absolutely. It's like we're living in the future with this. We can just lay something.
Yeah,
down.
another technology that came from WebOS and Palm devices. I still have all my inductive charging pucks for my Pixie and Pre and Pre 3, and that's where all that came from. Like the card, that's what I was telling you, Vin, the card feature and the app feature that's in Android that comes from WebOS. That was one of the things they borrowed from WebOS. They got a license to do that.
Well, look at the bright side. Google was able to make something useful from it.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And LG uses it on their TVs, so you can have WebOS TVs, and they run really nicely. I have a Samsung now, but I loved my WebOS on LG. It was really nice. It's the top-selling smart TV OS right now.
What kind of hipster are you? You own a TV?
Yeah.
Oh.
Turns out I actually watch most of my YouTube video podcasts and streams on and Twitch on a TV.
I do own a TV. I do not know whether or not it powers on still. There's plasma. We've been over this multiple times.
Yeah, absolutely. My plasma finally died. It was over 10 years old. It was one of the very first Samsungs. It was a great TV, but we used it day in, day out. But it was over 10 years old when it died, so I was really happy with that.
Mine's probably been cut on, if I'm being generous, a nice round number, maybe 20 times. Probably
wow, yeah. So it'll last for the rest of your life, probably.
I have no idea, man. It probably just died of old age. It's just one of those things. You're like, well, you're supposed to have a TV, right? Sure, let's go buy a TV. TV up. There it is. Yeah.
Yeah.
Looks like a normal person lives here.
I'm forgetting, Vin, what brand was it when you got that? What brand is your plasma? Do you know? Remember?
Is it a Philips? Yeah, you're asking the wrong person.
Oh, Philips. Okay, one of the original
say
Philips.
It's a Philips, yeah.
See, at the time, it was either Philips or Samsung. Those were the two brands.
It was the lesser of the ridiculously expensive. Because it wasn't like stratospheric. You gotta remember this, kids. This is over a decade ago.
Yeah. Ours was stratospheric, but I got a good deal on it.
It was under $3,000.
Oh, okay. Yeah. That sounds about the price we paid for our. It was originally $5,000, and I got it cheaper because I ended up taking advantage of Super Bowl Sunday. And by the way, that's a real thing. That is literally the day where you can get the lowest prices on electronics in the retail stores. Is Super Bowl Sunday.
Super Day Sunday. Part of the
Super Day Sunday, Super Bowl
game.
So it helped that there was a discount on the flagship plasma, and I was friends with the manager of CompUSA at the time because he had been a student of mine. So that helped also.
What's a CompUSA?
I know, what's a CompUSA? I I miss CompUSA. Compusa. I used to call it Compusa.
Yeah, the modern electronics store is just gone. It's
I know. It's so weird. We just have Best Buy now. But
well,
Best Buy is doing, they're
Best Buy is a display
They're-
model show. I mean, it's like 90%. Like, here's laptops for Microsoft and stuff, and here's 10% home theater stuff.
yeah. Well, we have Micro Center too, so yeah.
That's about it. I mean, the thing that I thought would never go away, even though it was resigned to like such a fraction in only some stores, was the Radio Shacks in the States.
I know that was
I found
so
one
depressing.
locally that had a like just in the back, like the dusty quarter of the Radio Shack. They still had, it was a bare bones selection of integrated circuits, and they had a toolbox filled with resistors and caps and stuff. Like in a pinch. I mean, like a quad 1489 IC. You could get those from Mauser still to this day, all day in bulk for like 16 cents a piece, and they were charging $1.49 a pop for them. But
Yeah.
if you needed one, you could go get it and just deal with it and eat that cost. But yeah, that's gone. Like if you need something like that these days,
I know.
just get ordered.
And then kind of, Fry's kind of killed them, and now Fry's is gone. So we used to call it fried electronics. Fried electronics.
I haven't heard of Highland.
Yeah, Highland. I knew about that store. I'd never been to one.
That's there's that other store that is in, I guess, in the Midwest. Ben Heck talks about it, where he buys all of his cheap knockoff stuff.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Yeah.
I couldn't tell you the name of it if I thought about it. Which I'm thinking about it right now. Fulfilling this prophecy I just made. Menards?
Menards.
All right, I was
Menards.
close. I was in the ballpark.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
Hacker Bell 386. Weird places used to sell desktop computers, man. I was
I
looking
know.
through an old Sears catalog, and they had a straight up electronics section with computers and stuff.
Yeah. Wow. Remember the Federated Group then?
No.
In those commercials? That was the thing. Maybe it was only here on the West Coast, but they were a big electronics, kind of a combination of, they sold computers too, so kind of a combination of Fry's and more of like what Staples is now for electronics. Yeah, a Federated Group.
Where did I go to Staples?
They had a lot of audio equipment too. Oh yeah, they had a lot of audio equipment that you'd find at Guitar Center and those stores as well. It was kind of it was all electronics, but it was media and entertainment focused.
I used to have a real hang up about Guitar Center until I discovered the used section on their website, and that it was linked to every store that they own across North America.
Yeah.
I'm like, wait, what?
That's right.
I didn't know this was here. But yeah, by paying retail at Guitar Center, that I think is the only store I've been into where I was just talking to a regular guy because I went there to pick up something that I'd ordered, and it was high value enough to where I wanted it shipped to another store locally to go pick it up, where I could open it up in the store and go, okay, everything works, that's good. And I needed a specialized cable. And I was talking to the guy, and we were just talking back and forth. I'm like, hey man, do you have this? And I think it was like a TRRS with an adapter on it. And he's like, I think we might have one of those, man. Let's go check it out. Yeah, this guitar, man. I'm like, all right, let's go check it out. And we look at it, and it was like $20. He's like, I wouldn't pay that much, man. I'm like, yeah, I'm just going to go make my own. Don't worry about it. Thanks. So, yeah, they got some high prices for the stuff they sell in the stores, but their used selection, can't beat it. Can't beat it. Always buy used when you're dealing with audio stuff. It's just everything in the studio is used.
Yeah. And of course there's Sweetwater, and they're online.
Sweetwater's
And
good.
drummer Sam Ash. We used to have Sam Ashes around here, and then they went away. We still have Guitar Center. And yes, Monkey Wards. Never forget Monkey Wards. They sold computers. So all the big department stores did. You could get them at Woolsworth and Newberry's. Oh God,
there
that
was
shows
this
my
one
age.
place locally that I saw in the paper online in Athens. I think it was like Chick Piano. I'm not 100% on that, but apparently they've been running continuously in Athens for 80 years.
Oh, okay. What's the name?
I think it was Chick Piano.
Check.
It was,
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it was one store. It wasn't a...
Oh, okay. A chain.
You know, I think.
Yeah, they did. Monkey Wards had a good gaming section. Remember that?
Chick music. News. To close after decades. When did it open? I don't know. I don't like just coming up with random. Okay, yeah. That's it. That's what I read.
Aw.
80
it's
years
nice.
of service. Huh?
Wow.
All right.
Chick music. Aw.
It's where REM guitarist Peter Buck bought his first guitar.
Aw. That's cool. No, I like the old mom and pop stores like that. There's just not enough of them around anymore.
I mean, it's kind of like the things. It was like their parents had it and they ran it, and their kids were like, "We don't want to run a retail store, man. Come on." Like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, we do have actually, especially in the Hollywood and LA, we do have a lot of music stores and whatnot to support the industry. And there's just there are a lot of independent, but they're usually run by like big companies, like the music labels and whatnot.
Big music.
Yeah.
All right, everyone. I've had a
there's
good
the
time hanging out,
Virgin.
but I got to get to work. I got to transmogrify everything into a podcast. So, do we have any final thoughts, any closing words, and any niceties? I'm stretching.
Well, everyone out
Isn't
there
that right,
have
Twitch?
a great
Stretch or something like that. I'll drink
yeah,
some water
stretch.
one day.
Stretch.
Oh,
I can't stretch as tall as Ben. He's
What?
much taller than me. He could almost, probably sitting down, you could almost touch your ceiling.
I can sit on my tippy toes and touch the ceiling. Yeah.
Yeah. Steven can touch these ceilings.
All right. Enjoy the rest of your Wednesday or whatever day it may be when you're listening
Yeah,
to the end, beginning.
absolutely.
And if you want to get into some continuing education, if you want to test your old man, old lady reflexes with us,
Yes. Come in on Friday and play Trackmania with us and school us.
do it. It's a cheap game. It runs on a calculator and it works out of the box on Proton. And we got our own little server. All of that information is hiding in our Trackmanias channel in our Discord, where we're there. Look, there's some photos.
Aw.
That's our little group. And
Yay.
play for points and just trying to see if we can get good at it. And it's a silly arcade game, and love to see you there. All right. That's the spirit, Nubbin. That's the spirit. That means that they're good maps. If we're
Oh,
making it all
Nubbin, that means they're good. No.
Me and Joe were talking about that before we went live. That's
Yeah.
It's like, Kevin, it's got to upset you enough. It's got to upset you.
Yeah.
We're like, you know what? I'm going to get a sense of accomplishment. Well, what are you going to win? I was like, no, I'm going to finish this track.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm going to get across the line. So we'll be there Friday. Come hang out with us. Till then.
Yay. It's
See you
going to
next
be a
week.
fun time.
Bye.
Love you all. Bye, Cryptic. Bye, Drummer. Bye, Nubbin. Bye, Mir. Bye, Steve Husband. Bye, Arthurian.